What is up, Who Dat Nation? My name is Andrew, and we're going to be coming at you with another episode of the Who Dat Discussion podcast. I know that this is a new intro, but, we're kind of getting to that new season area. Free agent is kind of, dying down. We're getting into that third, fourth stage of free agency, and now the draft's coming up. I just want to, revamp things for kind of like the second season of the Who Dat Discussion. That's really what we're trying to get into, so you're going to see a couple of new things, in the upcoming weeks. We haven't put out an episode in a little bit because, we're just revamping a lot of stuff. Audio should be a little better on this episode. We've been we've been upgrading the audio. Also, visual, we're going to be getting to that next. We're working on getting some, people to interview, some Saints players. We're definitely going to be looking forward to those. When those are official, I will be coming at you guys there. Obviously, we're getting out a lot of film studies. We did get one out last week, and then it's taken us a while to get this Latavius Murray one out. Had some technical difficulties, but it probably will be out going alongside this podcast episode, so that will be out very soon. Then Mario Edwards Jr., that will probably be up tomorrow, and then Sunday will probably be either a Teddy Bridgewater or Jared Cook, a player like that, to, just fill out our free agent film studies there. We're getting to this good time. I know there was like a week, so I used this week to kind of take off. I've been a little busy myself, so, just wanted to take a little time off. It's obviously not that much stuff has happened, only really one major news story and really the draft. So, I've been really busy. I've been, to put up other content. I've been busy with the visual stuff, trying to just get everything better, because this is kind of like, for me, it's going to start off like the second season of the Who Dat Discussion podcast. That's kind of what I'm thinking of it. So we're going to have a couple of new things. Just look out for them. I think we may make a new logo, some, new design, stuff like that. The visual effects, I think, will be a little better on episodes coming up soon. So I just want to just tell you guys that, update you guys that with the podcast. Obviously, we're going to be looking to add some, live videos in there coming up shortly. We're going to probably have a draft special, and that's going to be live. We're just going to go through, hang out with you guys, even on the first day. I think that's what we're going to do there. Obviously, that's a really big time. And then I think we're going to do a live video, a mock draft live video a couple of weeks before. And then, I'm just hoping to get some live videos up very, very soon. And that's really it. That's what really we have been working on. I know that we haven't had a podcast episode out in a week, so I'm sorry about that. But we are back, and we will be at you coming at least once a week. Now, look, guys, when I'm putting out all these film studies, it's going to be tough to make 2 podcast episodes. But, if we have no film studies to make, I'd be fine. I'm going 2 episodes for sure. Also, we may put out even more YouTube videos about, other Saints players' news. And I think that's just great to really, I think that's what we're going to try to do, make our YouTube presence a little more, also, obviously, we're still on iTunes, Google Play, Spotify, all that fun stuff. But, we're also going to be on the YouTube side of things too, trying to, add some stuff it's only going to be on YouTube. It's only possible. Like, I would love to put my videos and film studies up on other places, but that is just, it's not, you can't do that. But that's really, where this podcast is going to be heading. Obviously, we're still going to do all the podcasts. Can't wait for next season. It's just coming up, 2019 season, obviously really, really big stuff. And then also, just one more thing, guys. If you have any questions or, comments for the podcast, definitely we want to, have questions in the podcast. Get those Who Dat Nation fan questions in. I will definitely answer them on the show. I just wanted to put that in before. So with all that said, I think we're going to jump into some Saints news. 2 big headlines of Saints news. One's obviously, it's very Saints heavy, and the other one's kind of a NFL or football problem. So we're going to start off with some Saints news, and that is going to be the Saints did sign cornerback P.J. Williams. I really should say re-sign quarterback P.J. Williams to a 1-year deal with the Saints. In 2018, he had 53 tackles, 2 tackle for loss, 1 interception, 2 forced fumbles, 9 pass defense, and he had 1 interception for a touchdown. That's what his interception was. And this is what I think. With P.J. Williams, this is an amazing depth signing for the Saints. He was starting in their, third corner nickel role last year. He won't be this year. But look, one injury goes down, he's that next guy up, and he's a starter level player. I think he's even a mid-tier starter player. The Saints got him on the 1-year deal because he did have the DUI right after the NFC Championship game, which is obviously awful. Huge mistake by him, because now he's going to have to back it up and have another really big year before he can get paid, and that's going to be tough because the Saints have 3 corners. But right now, I think it's just a great depth signing for the Saints. When you look at that cornerback group with Lattimore, Eli Apple, P.J. Williams, Patrick Robinson, those are your top four. Those are really good. Top four really good, and then also you sign Marcus Sherrill. You already have Banjo. You already have Justin Hardy. That's a good, solid thing. Banjo's more of a safety, but you know what I mean. Very, very deep this whole cornerback group is, and also Kenny Crawley coming back. This is a good, deep group, and I would not be surprised if, the Saints, they always have those cornerback troubles. I wouldn't be surprised if they are one of the top groups for this team in 2019. Really big signing there. I just wanted to, say welcome back, PJ, and I can't wait to see you guys out there again, that whole group out there, the boot gang. They're just a great group, and, got to keep those guys together. The cohesion's definitely there. And look, what the Saints have done, they've gotten their team better, and they still have $10 million in cap space. I just got to say, Mickey Loomis, when they say that he's like a cap wizard, they definitely mean it. He's insane. I haven't seen anything like this when you think about it. Look, the Saints started off with $10 million, and really have only made two moves to make cap smaller. Three moves. You had Drew Brees restructuring. That got us $10 million. That's a lot. You had Meredith get like $1 million in. Really wasn't that much. Well, 1.5 maybe. And then also you cut Kurt Coleman. But besides that, nothing really. So I'm not surprised that I'm very surprised, that the Saints have been able to do this much and still have cap space to sign another player, if that could be a Ziggy Ansah or that could be someone else, because I just think that is really, really big for the Saints. So hats off to Mickey Loomis. He's making this team better, and you've had some unfortunate things go your way with the Mark Ingram situation. They bounce back and sign Latavius Murray, and then they get Jared Cook, which I said was going to be the biggest key to this offseason, was be getting a player like Jared Cook. I think is going to be huge for this team. So to me, I just think this is a really good job by Mickey Loomis to come in here and re-sign P.J. Williams. Obviously, that was the latest news. But, he's done a great job this whole offseason. I got to give the Saints offseason more of an A-, maybe even A range, especially if they get a wide receiver and a defensive end. And I think, if you can get one through the draft and one through for agency, you got to give the Saints an A for the offseason, or at least an A-. I would love in the draft to get another offensive lineman just to, get some insurance there with Nick Easton, a nice center that come in there, start right away. Or not start, but just have a good backup there. I think you would love to have, your draft, either it's like a 4th-round pick or something like that, coming in there with like a Cameron Tom fighting out there. I would love to see that with Nick Easton, give everyone a shot. Even other guards like Michael Olaf, stuff like that. I would like to see that battle, because I would like the person that's most legitimately there, if just in case, let's say, Easton went down or he wasn't that good or whatever it may be. I just like to have that player there. And then our next set of news is that the AAF, the Alliance of American Football, did fold, I believe it was on Tuesday. And I think this is really sad. Obviously, I just wanted to see what this league did. Technically, I guess I was a Memphis Express fan for a little bit. I wouldn't call it a fan, but, they got off to a bad start, and not like I lost interest, but, it's just, that team, they had a lot of quarterback issues, and, obviously other sports are starting. It was a good filler. I think someone said this on Twitter. It's a good filler for about a month, and then after that, it kind of got, not boring, but you had other sports, and, that level of talent, it's not bad. It's about a college level of talent. But, I don't love watching college football, really, even, especially, the not-so-good teams. Obviously, you're going to watch, the big, college football playoffs, stuff like that. But besides that, you're not going to, it's not NFL talent, so you definitely see that. So, to me, I just think in the AAF, I wouldn't call it not NFL talent. I'd call it college talent, which is not bad. I think that's fine, but you had really, I think, because you had a lot of money that was going into it, but you look at the owner, and I think he's kind of doing a disservice. Tom Dondon, I believe his name is, he owns the Carolina Hurricanes in the NHL and stuff like that, but I just don't think he did the right thing by the AAF here. I think he may have, I don't want to, make accusations about this guy, like he's like the worst guy ever, but it's looking, look, he wanted to get the NFLPA right away. That's not going to happen. And you're going to see AAF guys get signed, and you don't really need the NFLPA's approval here to be that minor league to the NFL. They don't need that, but he thought they did, and he thought that was a breaking point in year one. And I just think that's such a bad decision there, because, these guys, and to drop a midseason, what a bad business, really, that, the AAF was running at the end, because I think this guy, the AF had a lot of new technology and a lot of new, gambling technology and a lot of new with their app and stuff like that. And I think he may have just took it and so he can use it for the Hurricanes and stuff like that. And if he did that and that happens, I'd be extremely upset that you use the players, they're really the fans, and then also all those people in the front office, because he kind of let on people like Bill Polian like this was the right decision. Bill Polian was against it, which I mean, look, and Arbasol was against it too. So to me, that's just look, he has his money, he can do what he wants with his money, but I just don't think it's right to do to these players that look. I think Jaron Elliott is going to get a job for him, saying he'll get a job. One of them already got a job. Garrett, not Garrett Grayson, I was thinking of that. Garrett Richards, I think his name is, from the Orlando Apollos. Garrett Gilbert, I'm sorry, from the Orlando Apollos. He is going to get signed by the Browns. That's obviously really big. He's one of your best QBs, and now he's going to be playing for the Browns. That's big. Jaron Elliott's going to get signed. I hope he gets signed. I hope the Saints sign him because I think the Saints could use that outside veteran pressure, and he was dominant. Good for him. He's a really good player, and I think he was kind of that George Johnson role. I think he can play that role too for the Saints. If it ever came to that, because he was amazing in the AAF when I saw him play. So I think that's just it is what it is, I guess. But for a league to end like that, not even finish your first season, it seems a lot of things seem a little fishy. I just want to point that out there before we get onto our main topic. And now we will get to our main topic, and that main topic is we're going to start a new series here at the Who Dat Discussion, and that is going to be we're like 3 weeks away from the draft, and we're just going to go through group by group and to really need by need really for the Saints, and talk about the players that the Saints could potentially get with their second pick or fourth pick or whatever it may be there, or trade into the fourth round and pick them, whatever it may be there. And we're going to start with, to me, the most important need for the Saints, and that is going to be wide receiver. Look, it's not like the Saints don't have a lot of wide receivers right now. You have that Michael Thomas, you have Ted Ginn, you have Keith Kirkwood, you have Cameron Meredith. That's those four are probably fine. You have Traquan Smith, obviously. Those five are probably pretty solid if they're all healthy and they're playing at their top of their game. But I think the Saints definitely need a bona fide two, because I just don't think Ted Ginn at this point of his career is really that bona fide two receiver. Maybe that will be Des Bryant, but it's increasingly looking like the Saints won't sign Des Bryant, or maybe they'll sign him very late in free agency. But to me, I just think when looking at it, the Saints, I think we'll get a wide receiver in this draft class. I wouldn't be surprised. And I think these five players are going to be options here. So I'm going to just basically go. There's no order in these players, but we're just going to go one by one. We're going to look at five players, and we're just going to look at that. So our first player is going to be AJ Arcega-Whiteside from Stanford University, and this guy can play. He's a really, really good player. So in his senior year, he did have 63 catches, over 1,000 yards, 14 touchdowns. His catch range percent was over 67%, almost 70%. Really good job by him there. He had, 14 touchdowns is amazing. He showed out in the combine as well. It wasn't like that was his only thing. He was only good like at Stanford. He was really, really good, especially in, I believe his 40 time was 4.4 or 4.8 or something like that. Yeah, I think it was 4.48. Not 4.8, 4.448, just under 4.5, which is amazing for his type of player. He has a lot of athletic skills. He completely reminds me of Michael Thomas. I think when you're looking at him, he's a really good strength. He has really good ball skills. He is a really good route runner, very good in the red zone, which is, I think, is what the Saints need. He always runs a good slant route. He has very strong hands. As I said, this is just his strengths. He carves out space and finishes combat catches. All Michael Thomas, confident field demeanor. That's just like Michael Thomas as well. His weaknesses is like he struggles to get a lot of separation, and sometimes he has too many stutter sets pre-release. But really, besides that, it's not that bad. And looking at it, he's not really a deep ball threat, and that's fine. Look, he's not going to be a deep ball threat guy, and I don't think the Saints need that deep ball threat guy. I would pick Arcega-Whiteside if you can get him in the second, or maybe you could trade up to him in the third round. But I think that he could be better than Des Bryant right now. People are saying his 3-year projection in that third year would be a potential Pro Bowler, and I think that would be big. When you're looking at it, he's that player that the Saints can pick up, and he can be right away their second receiver Really like this guy. I think he could be the next Michael Thomas. Wouldn't be surprised if the Saints picked him. He'd pull up like that Michael Thomas type 2016 season with just a really, really good year in that first year. He gets some touchdowns. I believe he had 8 touchdowns that first year. I think he got to 1,000 yards. Really great year there, and he can play. Arcega-Whiteside, he has that same Michael Thomas toughness. I think they would be like best friends in the room. Really, I think this would just be a really good draft player for the Saints to draft. I got to give a shout out to Tyler at the ASC podcast because he brought me on to him by listening to their podcast, and that is just an amazing podcast over there. Definitely check them out on iTunes and all the places you can watch their podcast on their website and stuff like that. But I mean, look, he's a great player, and I really, watching this film, I really see why a lot of people really like him. But I think he could be the next Michael Thomas, or maybe the next Alshon Jeffrey. People were saying, or maybe even if he's a poor man's Michael Thomas in that number 2 receiver role, that's obviously really big. Another receiver is, I think this is more of a pipe dream. The Saints would have to move up in the first round to get him, and that's going to be Akeem Butler out of Iowa State. I mean, look, he can play. Looking at his stats, he in his junior year, he was redshirted his freshman year, but in his junior year, redshirt junior year, he put up 60 catches, 1,300 yards, 9 touchdowns, very similar to Arcega-Whiteside in that remark and stuff like that. He runs a very similar 4.40 as well. When looking at it, he had a 4.48. A 40-yard dash, he had a 4.48 in the 40-yard dash. Vertical jump 36, broad jump 128. That's really, really good. I mean, look, he is a hell of a player. We saw that. Looking at his strength, some of it is that his length is going to create matchup problems. He can build up speed. He can get that separation, maybe that Arcega-Whiteside couldn't. Really good body control. He, in that 40, he runs that. They have the drill where you run across the line and catch a lot of balls. He can do that really well. He's a big playability guy, and he can, come up, make a high point catch, and then run for a touchdown. He's not really that good, though, which is kind of different than Arcega-Whiteside. He's not good in those slant routes, which I think that the Saints I think what the Saints really need is that deep guy candidate. This would obviously be a deep player candidate. His route running is not the best at times. So, look, he's a very different player than Arcega-Whiteside. But, what I think he could be, I think he's going to be that first round talent. I wouldn't trade up to get him, is my diagnosis on him. I think that the Saints they kind of do the Saints would need that type of player. He'd be that deep threat need that the Saints need, but for a first round talent, and he's not really the best route runner for a first round talent. I don't know if you can really validate picking him there, especially when you have a lot of great talent like Arcega-Whiteside in the second round and further on there. But obviously he's a great player, amazing player, but I don't know, because you can get a very similar player to me in the second round and not give up a lot to get into the first round. So I think that's what I'm feeling there. On to our next player, and that's going to be Andy Isabella from UMass Amherst. So this is what looking at. In 2018, he had 102 catches, 1,700 yards, 13 touchdowns, and 1 rushing touchdown. He lit up UMass for sure. And he played the outside. I think one time I think I said he played in the slot, but I think he could be a slot player. I think maybe I got misheard or something, because someone did comment on that. Yeah, he doesn't play the slot, but I think he could be a perfect slot player, that shifty type player. And I think the Saints could use that slot type player. And I think if I were the Saints, I'd put him in on that top player there. On that slot player, there. He ran a 4.31, which is obviously insane. Vertical jump of 36.5. That's fine. He's just, look, he's very, very small player, but I think, look, he's going to come in here. He doesn't care that he's small, and he's going to be a competitor. He's going to be a very successful player in the league. NFL.com says he's going to be a well-rounded receiver, elite quickness,